Calling Dr. Rosemobile, calling Dr. Rosemobile. It's Muscle Car Campy with another classic out of Lansing, Michigan. Yes, it's a 1972 Hurst Olds. This was a car born out of necessity at a time when performance was becoming a four-letter word in Detroit. Don't forget, before we get started, hit the subscribe button. That way you're notified every time a new video goes live. Trust me, you won't want to miss any of the great cars we have coming up. After 1970, the Big Three and AMC were really turning their backs on performance. Between high insurance rates, new EPA regulations, and even pressure from the government, horsepower was going away, and at the same time, performance really was a four-letter word. You got to think about it. 1970, Olds paced the Indy 500. 1971, they didn't even have a car to pace the 500 with. A group of local Indianapolis Dodge dealers created the 71 pace car out of a 71 Challenger convertible. That car ended up being driven by a local dealer. He crashed into a photography stand. It was mayhem. By 1972, no one wanted anything to do with it. So what happened? Up stepped Hurst Performance and built the third of its series of Hurst Oldsmobiles. Hurst had long been a fixture in the automotive aftermarket, and its shifters, wheels, and other parts were practically mandatory equipment for any self-respecting hot rodder. Didn't matter if you were banging gears on Main Street or slugging it out at the Strip. The Pennsylvania-based company started building new cars for Detroit in 1968 with the Hurst Oldsmobile. Then came the Hurst Hemi Darts and Barracudas, which were full-on race cars. For 69, there was the AMC Scrambler, and then there was another Hurst Olds in 69. There were others, but today we're going to focus on the 72 Hurst Olds. Unlike previous models, which were two-door hardtops with more of the fastback roofline, the 72s started life as Cutlass Supremes, and the body choices were the formal roof coupe or convertible. All were cameo white with Hurst frost gold accents, reflective stickers now, not paint. You could get any interior color you wanted as long as it was Starlight Black. Under the hood for 1972, you had two choices with the Hurst Olds. Optional was the W30 package with now only 8.5-to-1 compression, a drop of 2 full points, but it was rated at 300 net horsepower, which was still plenty stout. Our feature car today has the standard engine, the 270 horsepower 455, but really that's not too shabby. Think about it, the 454 in the Corvette that year was also rated at 270 horsepower. This car has the optional W25 ram air hood, the cold air package underneath. Unlike the W30, this car has a regular cast iron intake manifold. It's the same manifold as the W30, just made out of iron instead of aluminum. The 270 horse models were good for low 15s, maybe high 14s at around 92 miles an hour, while the W30s were about a second faster. They could still go low 14s at about 98. These were cool cars, and we liked the fact that they blended a lot of luxury with performance. You know, there is one major change to the exterior of this car from stock. All the Hurst Olds had padded tops. This one, when the car was painted, the top was removed, and the current owner was trying to get the top put back on, but the bracing inside, everything it's really not available. If it is available, it's very expensive. Most times you just can't find it. So frankly, we think it's an addition by subtraction. We really prefer the hard top, even though the padded top made it part of the Hurst package was cool. The other cool thing we love on this car is the Hurst sunroof. That was something they were doing back then. This one still functions. The gold reflective tape stripes, awesome, right? I mean, it wasn't paint like in 69. The gold was all tape stripes. Of course, the big Hurst Olds, the pace car decals down the side. I mean, this was a really, really hot car for 72. You know, this car, being a Cutlass Supreme, has a very, very nice interior. Love these big, comfy bucket seats. And unlike some Hurst cars, like the Pontiac SSJ we featured, it actually does have the Hurst His and Hers shifter. It's got that ridiculous tachometer that's completely hidden behind the steering wheel. We love it. Got air conditioning on this car. Non-W30 car, you could get air conditioning. Does not have tilt wheel. Just a great car. There is an aftermarket radio in here, and the signature of the lovely Linda Vaughn, Miss Hurst Golden Shifter. I've known Linda for 30 years. Terrific lady. It's always nice to see her signature on one of these cars. She was such a part of the Hurst story. And here's the button for the sunroof. Very, very cool. What's nice about this car is even the headliner is still all original. The material on the sunroof, very, very nice touch. While the interior is unrestored, we also dig the fact that the trunk is unrestored, right down to the Goodyear polysteel spare tire. Very cool. Super clean back here. Still has the original stickers on it. This is just a terrific example of what a 72 Hurst Olds would be. Alright everybody, Muscle Car Campy here with Tom Hill, the owner of this gorgeous 72 Hurst Olds. He's been kind enough to toss me the keys. Little does he know I'm not giving them back, but that's alright. Tom, how long have you had the car?
I'm going on 13 years.
Wow. And what made you pick a Hurst Olds, or did you just see it and say, I've got to have that?
Well, actually, a buddy of mine talked me into buying it. I was actually looking for a Camaro at the time, and he said, well, you ought to do some research on this, and so I did, went back and made a deal.
Wow. And you said you found it locally?
Found it locally here, yeah.
Wow. That's great. Boy, I can tell you, it drives nice. All that Oldsmobile torque. You know, after driving modern cars, it takes a little while to get used to the steering. You know,
right.
It definitely is very light. I drove a W30 442 the other night, and man, when you were banging gears in that thing, when the car felt like it wanted to just wander.
The front end is a little loose in that respect.
Yeah. But I love the view over the hood. I mean, the reflective gold stripes are fantastic. I mean, I can only imagine what they look like under street lights at night or in low light conditions. Man.
Yeah, they really show up.
Yeah. If I turn my head this way, I can see the tach. 2,000 RPM at 45 miles an hour. 342 gears out back. Very, very cool car. I love the steering wheel. Kind of has that butterfly look, sort of like a dragster would have had back in the 60s.
Yes, it does.
What kind of condition was the car in when you picked it up?
It was actually in pretty good shape. It needed some cosmetic attention. The paint was oxidized because it had been sitting in a warehouse for a lot of years, and it had been repainted, but it was really oxidized. And I just worked on it, cut and buffed, and was able to bring it back.
Wow! So you didn't have to repaint it. You didn't have to do the stripes or anything. I imagine the stripes are almost unobtainium at this point.
Well, actually, I did put most of the graphics back on.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you were able to get that.
Right, it only had the hood stripes, the front hockey sticks, and the rocker stripes on it. I got it.
Okay, you got all the you put on the pace car decals and everything else.
Everything else is
very cool. You were telling me before you did the valve seals, but the bottom end on this car is original, never been. Wow, 67,000 miles, all original. Terrific. I mean, it's quiet like an Oldsmobile. You know, it doesn't idle too tough. This is stock cam, obviously.
right.
You know, so many of the cars we get in are modified in some way. I mean, they'll look stock, but they'll have a different cam or certain things. But this is a real time capsule. This is a real, feels like a genuine Hurst Olds from '72.
Yeah, it's very original. Very original.
What's your favorite part about it?
You know, it's just I think it's just a good looking car. It really is. Get a lot of people looking at it, a lot of people interested in it, and you know, drives so nice. I mean, I've driven this car to Ocala, to Tampa, all over, going to different shows, and it's like sitting on your sofa at home.
What's the most fun you've had in this car? Was there one time you did something in it or took it somewhere? What really made you?
I think the most fun. It was actually when I went to the All GM show in Ocala, to Silver Springs. That was really nice. That was a lot of fun.
That was a great show.
It was
I missed
very
that
nice show. I do too.
Just for those who don't know, that was put on by National Parts Depot. I mean, we have 1,000 cars up there.
Every bit of 1,000.
I mean, just in a natural setting where you can take a glass bottom boat out, look at the springs there, and you're like, oh, that's at about 5 feet, 6 feet, it's 40 feet down, and you can see the bottom, and it's like, oh my God, just fantastic stuff.
This is a good old car.
How many owners has it had before to you, do you know?
From what I was told when I bought the car, they had gotten it from the owner's nephew, the original owner's nephew. So that would basically make me
Third owner.
third owner.
Well, I like this cruising around, air conditioned comfort. Man, what a great machine. I really appreciate you letting me drive this car. Unfortunately, it comes time for me to stop, so I'm just going to pull it back in here.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
All right, all you hot rod punks checking out the great cars at Muscle Car Campy. That's a wrap for today. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you come back. Explore the whole channel. We got about 50, 60, 70 videos on there. You won't want to miss any of them. We'll be back with some more cool cars, more Oldsmobiles, and lots of other trick stuff. Stay tuned.